21 months since we got together for the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame banquet. For that alone, it is wonderful to see everybody here. I'm your master of ceremonies for the evening. My name is Greg Rakestraw from the ISC Sports Network. I've been fortunate enough over the last 11 years either to broadcast on the radio or television or both, one, if not multiple, boys basketball state championship games at what is now known as Cambridge Fieldhouse. Typically, I am a play-by-play announcer, but to start the banquet, I think I turned into more of a public address announcer, because my first job is to introduce everyone who will be up here on the podium for the duration of the program. We start with those that are getting ready to be inducted into the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame. First, Steve Yoder. Next is Jerry Reynolds.
Needs to get way tighter.
Sam Simmermaker's not going into the Hall of Fame, but he's actually joined us after on the dais. He'll be introducing our silver anniversary teams throughout the course of the evening. Next up, our Pacers Silver Medal Award winner, Jim Kessler. Next up is Kirby Olbermann. Dick Nyers. Lyndon Jones. I'll go ahead and clarify this for you. Wearing his cowboy boots, Mark James. And Wally Thomas. Next, we have 2 years' worth of silver anniversary teams to recognize. We'll start with Eric Riggs. Mike Renfro. Mike may have the shortest ride to get here this evening. Good to see you, Coach. Jack Owens. TJ Lutz. Courtney James. Kyle Huckabee. Damon Frierson. Keon Brooks. Brad Dixler. And Kent Ayer. Next up, BJ Watts. Jan Price. Jeff Boisel. Greg Mcquaid. Brian McCauley. The man whose assist record held up until this year, Mickey Hosier. Chris Hahn. Andrew Graves. Jerron Cornell. Lee Googler. Dwayne Clemens. And Ben Anderson. We will go into more formal, full recognition of all of these basketball greats of one form or the other at some point in time after dinner. But once again, these are your incoming Hall of Famers and your silver anniversary teams for each of the last 2 years. And with that, I would like to welcome Phil Eskew to the podium, who will give our invocation before this evening's meeting.
According to your own beliefs, let us bow our heads. We gather here to praise and honor the lives and careers of our living and deceased inductees tonight. Each honoree has been blessed with talents that enable them to succeed both on the court and in their daily lives. We thank our honorees for living their lives in a way that has inspired us to model our own lives and those of the younger players after them. Our deceased inductees will be forever remembered and recognized by the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame. We pause to give thanks for the many coaches, teachers, and teammates that motivated and touched their lives. We give thanks for their parents and family who sacrificed, took them to many practices and games, encouraged them to play by the rules, to persevere, to never give up, and to be a great teammate. We thank you for the leadership and vision of the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame. We ask you to bless all who have gathered this evening as we acknowledge the accomplishments of our honorees. Bless this food for the nourishment of our bodies and give thanks to those who prepared it. Guide all of us as we return to our homes safely with renewed memories of the wonderful game of basketball. Amen.
And Dr. Eskew is our 2005 silver medal honoree. With that, folks, let's start with dinner. Dinner will be served at your table. They will bring it to you, and if you do anything, obviously feel free to visit until you get a drink and enjoy each other's company. Once dinner has been served and mostly consumed, we'll begin with our program in approximately 40 or so minutes. Again, thank you so much, everyone, for being here tonight. Back with you shortly.
You get the wide shot of as much as the phone Okay, so what you see that the top of the drink water needs a ceiling. Put that right at the top of your so everybody talks to say. Keep going one more time. Oh yeah, right there. That's all. Yeah, we'll roll with that.
It'll be an exciting stream for whoever's watching. 40 minutes later.
Do you have those cameras recording?
I'm just keeping program. I'm just recording the program.
There's 80. There's 80.
No, I'm all right.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Doesn't cost you anything.
No, I'm okay.
You get something over here?
Could I just get a glass of water? It's like it just froze on me again. Damn it.
You would run. Do you want a dinner?
I'm okay. These guys.
Yeah. Those two guys down there.
Yeah, they used to do a in memoriam section. Like they had the guy with the Chris go up there and talk about the guys who are doing all the things. They're not doing it this year. That usually takes 10 to 15 minutes alone.
And just passed away the previous year?
Yeah. In between, so yeah, like you look at all the people that passed away, like between last year's and this year, they're always doing
Do they induct people that have already passed away?
What's that?
Do they ever induct anyone who's already passed away?
I don't know about that. I would think by the time you got it done, I feel like it would be
Right. Man, I was reading through the script notes I got, and there was someone who was getting inducted that wasn't going to be here, so they had a family member accepting something. And I hope they pass away, or can they genuinely not be here?
Space it out.
We're going to get going here in about 5 minutes. We're going to get another drink from the bar down at the time. Want to go visit the restroom before we get the program underway. And for those of you that are here seated at the front, we'd like to have you guys kind of head back this way. We'll get our program resumed in about 5 minutes. Thank you.
I didn't want anything else.
No, I just a glass of water would be great. I hope this doesn't freeze when someone's talking. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
So then you want me to get like shots of what you want to take?
You're kind of just gonna have a wide shot, I think, right? Yeah.
That's normally what we do, yeah.
Just pretty much just a wide shot.
Just wide shots.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know it's fun.
All right, folks, if you can start to head back to your seats, we will get underway with the remainder of our program tonight. Please return
Thank
to
you.
all your seats in this area. Return to your seats and we will get started here in just a few moments.
Thank you, ma'am.
No, I'm good.
All right, with that, folks, let's get started. First of all, for the respect of our honorees as well as those around you, we ask that you please turn off or silence your cell phones or other electronic devices at this time, knowing you're going to use them to take pictures anyway. We ask you to put those please in silent mode. Let's offer a warm round of applause and a thank you to the tremendous staff here at Primo for the fine meal and excellent service tonight. Mary and Sullivan and staff deserve your commendation for their efforts this evening. Let's also recognize the staff of the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame. Now, of course, Chris May did not put his own name in these notes. I will reference him here. Chris, thank you very much for all you have done during your years with the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame. Normally, he's the person that is standing up here doing this part of the show. Tonight, he's taking more of an executive role. You're ready to relax a little bit more with that. But as Chris will be the first to tell you, he has a tremendous staff around him, such as Assistant Director Kayla Kessler, Cheryl Benton, and Trip Lukemeyer. Thanks to those wonderful folks as well for their role in this evening's festivities. And for so many of you had a chance to visit the Hall of Fame earlier today, you want to support the Hall of Fame and you want to be involved beyond just attending today's ceremonies, please consider joining the membership roll that is on page 7 of your program book for membership information and registration. And since I referenced page 7, literally, if you're picking that book up now, it's like you're picking up a copy of Hoosier Basketball Magazine. Things rather thick. The book that you see tonight was the one that was supposed to be used at the end of March in 2020. There has been an additional program addendum that has been added with tonight's information, as well as the 2021 Silver Anniversary Team, as well as the 25 and 50 year honor team. We recognize you. Thanks to wonderful corporate partners to support the Hall of Fame every year and support tonight's event. So many thanks to Raymond James, of course, the presenting sponsor of the Hall of Fame basketball tournament coming up December 29th and 30th in Newcastle, the Indiana Pacers and Indiana Fever, Adidas, the Indiana Basketball Coaches Association, the Indiana High School Athletic Association, Citizens State Bank, Henry Community Health, Johnston's, and German American Bank. The first featured speaker that we have for you tonight was the president from 2019 through 2021. And again, he had no idea the 2-year tenure he was signing up for some couple of years ago. But as you've known him as a player, as a coach, as a broadcaster, as simply a friend of the game, a great gentleman and leader throughout all of his time, ladies and gentlemen, Jerry Pierce.
Thank you very much, Greg. Wow, what a great sight to see all of you here tonight. We welcome all of you back, and the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame induction banquet. Finally, all of you, I want to thank all of you on the Zoom broadcast as well. We welcome you to this induction ceremony, and we're happy that you are able to watch this tonight. The board and the banquet committee want everyone here watching to sit and really enjoy tonight's celebration. It's our plan to reflect very positively on the many Hoosier traditions as we honor so many players, coaches, officials, championship teams, and of course our true basketball fans. Several committees meet several times throughout the year to select and plan and coordinate our award recipients. In your efforts, And we welcome also each of the family members that are here and influential friends for all of the honorees. Your encouragement and support has influenced each one of them without a doubt. So I want to encourage you to sit back, enjoy the rest of your meal if you need to, and thanks again for helping us celebrate tonight. My first official responsibility tonight is to present our annual President's Award. This award is usually given to an individual who has dedicated themselves with their time and passion to the Hall of Fame. Although many folks are qualified, tonight's recipient, I feel, rises above everyone this evening. This honoree is not a player, a coach, or a referee. She is a loving mother, wife, and driving force within our Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame. So I am indeed honored to present this year's President Award to our Assistant Director of the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame, Mrs. Kayla Kessler. So Kayla, please come forward and congratulate you for many years in Newcastle, and thank you for your many years of service and contributions to the Hall of Fame. So come on up, Kayla.
And now for our next set of awards, we'd like to introduce now the current president of the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame Board, and of course a longtime basketball official in the state, known for being a National Football League official for many, many years, but again, someone that has served in a variety of roles in a variety of sports in the state of Indiana, and we are lucky to have him as part of the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame Board as our president. Ladies and gentlemen, present the Center Circle Officials Award. Here's Mr. Mark Baltz.
That applause still isn't getting any better. I've been doing this for 4 or 5 years now. The decibel level gets up a little bit, but like I told you before, I probably would have felt a lot better if you just would have all sat out there and booed. Anyway, thank you all for coming. It's quite an honor to follow in Jerry Pearson's footsteps as the new president. But this being his banquet tonight, I'll fall back on my old responsibilities as the chairman of the Center Circle Officials Committee of the Basketball Hall of Fame. And each year, the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame honors 3 men for their contributions in Indiana high school basketball as officials, and they become recipients of our Center Circle Officials Award. Tonight, 3 outstanding officials are recognized for their contributions to our great game, each with terrific credentials. As they're introduced, we ask each recipient to come to the stage where they will be met by Mr. Don Nestor, the 2015 Center Circle Official Honoree, who will present them with their plaques. Tonight's first honoree, originally from the region, now hailing from Florida, is Mr. Mike Wisnora. Mike is a 1971 graduate of Munster High School, a 76 graduate of Purdue University, and played basketball and baseball at Munster, averaging 21 points a game and earning first team all-conference his senior year. He played 2 seasons of college basketball at Purdue Calumet. He is retired after 42 years as a licensed official, working, get a load of this, 39 sectionals, 27 regionals, 13 semi-states, and 7 boys state finals. from 92 to 2013. He's a member of the Lake County Officials Association. He worked as a local clinician for certification clinics and as an observer for mentoring members or JV officials. He was named the 2006 IHSAA Boys Basketball Official of the Year and received the 2013 Indiana Basketball Coaches Association Roy Garner Award. He is retired from a position at Maine Sporting Goods in East Chicago, following a longtime residence in Crown Point. As I said earlier, he now resides in Englewood, Florida. Let's give a warm congratulations to 2021 Center Circle Official Award winner, Mike Lesnora. Our next Center Circle Official winner is the late Paul Cox. Paul was a 1957 graduate of Yorktown High School, where he played basketball. He attended East New Mexico State on a basketball scholarship, and he would later attain a degree in police administration from the University of Louisville. Cox officiated 20 sectionals, 10 regionals, 4 semi-states, and 2 IHSAA boys state finals. He also worked 2 boys state finals and NCAA Division II and Division III and NAIA basketball games. A member of the Central Athletic Officials Association, he served 2 years as president. Paul worked in rules interpretation for 4 years and was a Mid-American Conference observer for 10 years. Additionally, he mentored 3 officials who went on to work NCAA Division I basketball, including J.D. Collins, who worked the NCAA Final Four and is now the NCAA's National Coordinator of Men's Collegiate Basketball Officials. Cox retired from a 32-year career in law enforcement with the Muncie Police Department, and he had been a member of the Yorktown Town Council and served in the United States Army. After being selected for this award in November of 2019, Paul unfortunately passed away in August of 2020. No member of his family was able to attend tonight to accept in his honor, but let's still give a warm congratulations to the late Paul Cox. Finally, we recognize Mr. John Goss. And I should have mentioned earlier, John was the longtime running mate of Mike Lesnora. I don't know how many thousands of games they officiated together in the state of Indiana, but we tried to get both of them elected while they were both still alive. John unfortunately passed away a couple years ago as well. He was a 1967 graduate of Gary Lou Wallace High School. He earned degrees in business and education from St. Joe College. He worked 38 sectionals, 27 regionals, 12 semi-states, 6 boys state finals. He was named the 2007 IHSAA Boys Basketball Official of the Year and the 2008 NFHS Official of the Year. He was a member of the Lake County Officials Association and the Calumet Officials Association. He was the secretary and the basketball assigner for the Lake County Association and was an observer and clinician since the early 70s. Also, he was a member of the National Association of Sports Officials and Athletic Sports Officials, and he was inducted into the Indiana Football Hall of Fame, having officiated 7 high school football state finals. He retired from Brinks. He unfortunately passed away in February of 2017. Accepting his award this evening is Darrell Goss. Let's congratulate the late John Goss. Thanks, Darrell. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy the evening.
Again, as I always tell the officials, the game literally doesn't happen without you guys. And given kind of the crazy schedules that I tend to work either when it's my days to cover college basketball or high school basketball, where it's a game every night, there's usually only one group that understands that same schedule, and it's the guys in the stripes. So again, Thank you, gentlemen. We get recognized 3 legends of the game here in Indiana as part of our Hall of Fame ceremony this evening. Now comes the portion of the program where we recognize previous state champions celebrating the 100, 50, and 25-year mark in terms of state champions. And throughout the course of tonight, you're going to get to hear a couple of the great nicknames in terms of teams or eras in Indiana high school basketball. And of course, we have 2 different groups to honor, those that we normally would have honored last March, and those that we would normally have honored this past March and this banquet this season. So with that, we recognize the first of 3 consecutive state champs for a group that was known as the Wonder Five. The 1920 Franklin High School squad is featured on page 52 of your banquet program. In 1920, 26 teams went to Bloomington to play for the Indiana High School State Championship over a 3-day tournament. Franklin's team would win the event. Franklin defeated Lafayette in the 1920 championship game after a semifinal victory over Anderson. Franklin went 29-1 in that season. And at the time, it was the best of any state champ in terms of wins and losses. Franklin was led by Hall of Fame coach Grizz Wagner. Ever wondered why the Franklin College teams are known as the Grizzlies? Grizz Wagner would be the reason. He was both a Franklin High School and Franklin College alum. Among their roster famous players included Robert Fuzzy Vanderveer, whom the Franklin High School Gymnasium was named after for many, many years. Earl Criddle, John Gant, and in their excitement over a first state championship, the citizens of Franklin took up contributions of over $1,000 that were presented to Coach Wagner. I'm not sure the conversion rate on that would be in today's money, but if someone wants to congratulate me with $1,000 for doing a good job tonight, I will happily accept it. No need to start past that just yet. We will talk more about the Wonder Five in a moment, but how about a quick round of applause celebrating the 100th anniversary of the Franklin Wonder Five. The East Chicago Roosevelt Rough Riders, champions in 1970. Not only state champs, undefeated state champs. Under the direction of Hall of Fame coach Bill Holtzback, they became at the time the 4th undefeated state champ in 60 years of Indiana high school basketball. Only 3 of their 20 regular season games were even within 10 points. They had to beat crosstown rival East Chicago Washington by 3 in their sectional championship game. We'll talk more about East Chicago Washington coming up in that. Victories over Gary Roosevelt and Hammond Clark in the regional, beat Lafayette Jet by 2 in the Lafayette Semi-State, and a 4-point victory over Michigan City in the state semi-state championship game. March 21st, the day of the state finals at April Fieldhouse, beat Muncie Central by 15 in the afternoon game, and beat Carmel by 14 in that night's championship game. Jim Bradley, a Hall of Famer, totaled 51 points and 39 rebounds in their 2 state finals games. John Davis had 21 in the championship, 17 in the afternoon game. Michael Artis had 20 against Muncie Central in the afternoon. Kavanaugh Gary scored double figures in both games, and Jim Rossi had 18 points for the day. Coach Holtzbach, an EC Roosevelt graduate, was in his 2nd season as the head coach at his alma mater. Now, 51 years after that marvelous feat, many of those players I just referenced are here to be recognized tonight. Dave Warland, from Cathedral High School, graduate of Lafayette Central Catholic, will be presenting the plaques in recognition for the East Chicago Roosevelt Rough Riders. Let's recognize John Davis, Napoleon Cranford, Kavanaugh Gary, Michael Artis, Colin Llewellyn, Leonard Marks, Chris Close, Jesse Jones, and the oldest living Indiana High School basketball state championship head coach, Bill Holtzbach. One more time for the East Chicago. And in this portion program, we got a lot of similar names because in 1995, they're talking about the Ben Davis Giants. They began the season ranked number 1. They ended the season ranked number 1. Very seldom does the number 1 team in the state actually win the state championship, but this Ben Davis Giants team was special. In the Indianapolis Regional, one of the greatest regionals to ever be played at April Fieldhouse, the 95 Giants defeated Indianapolis, Washington on a last-second shot. Then came back that evening to defeat the outstanding Cathedral team on a last-second shot in double overtime. A lot of folks have thought that maybe the Ben Davis-Washington game was amongst the best high school basketball state tournament games ever played in the state of Indiana. Newcastle gave Ben Davis a heck of a battle in the semi-state, as did Maryville in the state championship game at the RCA Dome. 3 players from that Ben Davis team and 2 from that Maryville squad were Indiana All-Stars that year. The Giants were led by Hall of Fame head coach Steve Whitty, I know, who is watching our feed tonight, unable to be with us. Coach's thoughts on this team were as follows. As talented as the 95 Giants were, they were even better teammates. They're unselfish, committed to accepting roles and playing the game the way the coaching staff believed it should be. Play within the team concept made it possible for Ben Davis to win 32 games and be considered as one of the all-time great state championship teams in the history of Indiana basketball. Dennis Goins is going to come up and join us. Of course, Dennis is a fantastic player in his own right these days, a teacher at Ben Davis High School. He has the honor, and by the way, your suit game is strong. I went to a much smaller high school that kind of featured purple as their color. I always try to wear purple in state championship broadcasts for this reason. Style-wise, I got nothing on this man. Let's recognize the members of that Giants team that could be with us tonight. Matt Clark. Antoine Carpenter. The gentleman who's already up here, David Ryerson. Another gentleman who's already up here, Corky James. You'll notice a recurring theme, Jeff Boisel. Jan Price. And Jeff Boyles. Assistant coach, Kendall Price. Assistant coach, Eric Rauch. Assistant coach, Doug Ogle. Assistant coach, Terry Strom. And assistant coach, and still in phenomenal shape, Kevin Vanderbush. Ladies and gentlemen, the 1995 state champion, Ben Davis Giants. And then we have another batch of teams to honor coming up in a matter of moments. But since we recognize those who are with us at last year's banquet, let's do the same for our silver anniversary team.
I'm like, just turn it off. I'd rather thank
you. Given the prose that he will be using to describe these players' outstanding high school and collegiate careers, he has been the voice of Columbus sports for over 6 days. Or over 6 days. 6 decades. That's a lot more than 6 days. Ladies and gentlemen from WCSI Radio in Columbus, Mr. Sam Zimmerman.
Thanks, Ray. And good evening, everyone. Let's laud some luminaries, as in the 2020 Silver Anniversary team, presenting the Hardware Hall of Fame Secretary and everyone's favorite Rushville Lion, Rick Goins. 20 silver anniversary team, beginning with Kent Ayer, South Spencer High School, Indiana All-Star, earned several state honors. His 1,929 career points helped his team with 3 sectionals and 2 regional wins. After a great career at Middle Tennessee State, where he was team captain, he earned a law and MBA degree and is currently president of TCK Companies and lives in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Kent Ayer. Brad Dixler, Jeffersonville High School, earned several All-State honors. He set school records during his career and played in 22 IHSAA state tournament games under Hall of Fame coach Mike Broughton. The team was 74-10 over 3 years, including winning 2 conferences, 3 sectionals, 2 regionals, 2 semi-states, and the 1993 state championship. He scored 1,246 points in 4 seasons at Bellarmine College and received several all-conference honors. He is an energy broker with TP ICAP Energy in Louisville. Brad Dixler. Keon Brooks, Fort Wayne North High School, earned several All-State honors as he helped his team win a regional championship. At Wright State, he scored 1,766 points and earned all-conference honors, as well as being named the Wright State Male Athlete of the Year. He works for GM, lives in Fort Wayne. His family's basketball success continues as his son, Keon Brooks Jr., plays at the University of Kentucky. Keon Brooks. Next up, we have Duaney, Bloomington North High School, Indiana All-Star, earned several All-State honors, scored 1,571 points career-wise, along with 648 rebounds and 233 blocks in high school under Hall of Fame coach Tom McKinney. He played 4 seasons for Wisconsin and was captain his senior year when they were in the NCAA Final Four. He is managing director of South Sudan's men's national basketball team and senior partner with Rubicon International and lives in Bloomington, but Duaney is in South Sudan as we speak. Duaney. Michael Edison, Plymouth High School, an Indiana All-Star, earned several All-Star honors under his Hall of Fame coach and father, Jack Edison. He scored 1,655 career points, along with 396 rebounds, 351 assists, 248 steals. He had a single game high of 53 points in the 1995 semi-state, 1,257 career points at Bethel as he helped them win the 1997 and 98 NAIA national championships. Since 2009, he's been head coach at LaVille High School with 9 consecutive winning seasons, including an undefeated regular season in 2017-18. He lives in Plymouth. He's unable to attend. Michael Edison. Alan Eldridge, Fort Wayne High School, an Indiana All-Star, earned several All-State honors as well as the Fort Wayne News Sentinel Player of the Year. Over 4 seasons at Purdue, he scored 664 points along with 280 rebounds and 311 assists. He is the Director of Distribution for TBC and resides in West Palm Beach, Florida. Unable to attend, Alan Eldridge. Damon Frierson, Ben Davis High School, Indiana All-Star. Indiana's 1995 Mr. Basketball earned several All-State honors along with big name Indiana Gatorade Player of the Year and McDonald's All-American. In helping Ben Davis win the state championship, he was named Maryland County and Metro Player of the Year as well. He scored 1,452 career points, helping Ben Davis to 3 consecutive state titles appearances under Hall of Fame coach Steve Whitty. At Miami University, he scored 1,644 career points, helping Miami win 2 MAC titles and reach the 1999 NCAA Sweet 16. After playing in Europe, he now is a special assistant at Miami University, residing in Oxford, Ohio. Damon Frierson. Chuck Gilbert, Cathedral High School, an Indiana All-Star, earned several All-State honors, helped Cathedral win the sectional as a junior, and after attending James Madison for 1 season, he completed his career at the University of Indianapolis. He works for Star Financial and lives in Indy. Chuck Gilbert. Kyle Huckabee, Newcastle High School, earned several All-State honors and was named the Muncie Star Player of the Year. In addition, career scoring 1,633 points under Hall of Fame coach Sam Alford, he was voted to the Newcastle All-Century Team and the 1990s All-Decade Team. Back surgery prevented him from playing at Ball State. He is now the owner-operator of Huckabee Trucking, and he lives in Newcastle. Kyle Huckabee. Courtney James, Ben Davis High School. An Indiana All-Star, earned several All-State honors under Hall of Fame coach Steve Whitty, a member of Minnesota's Big Ten Championship and Final Four team. He ended his career playing in the CBA from 1998 to 2022. To 2002, he currently is on the staff at Indianapolis Washington High School and lives in Indianapolis. Courtney James. T.J. Lux, Merrillville High School, an Indiana All-Star and the Trester Award winner. He earned several All-State honors as a member of the state runner-up team under Hall of Fame coach Jim East. He was very successful at Northern Illinois, setting score records in scoring and rebounding, along with big name, first team All-Conference all 4 years. 3-time Academic All-American, the 2000 Academic All-American Player of the Year. TJ played professionally in Europe for 7 seasons, returning to coach at Merrillville, where he won 3 sectionals and 2 regionals. TJ is currently an assistant at Crown Point High School. TJ Lux. Jack Owens, Indianapolis, Washington High School. An Indiana All-Star, earned several All-State honors, helped Washington win 2 city and 2 conference titles. He excelled at Eastern Illinois, earning MVP and Player of the Year awards. Since 2017, he's been the head coach at Miami, Ohio. Jack Owens. James Patterson, Ben Davis High School, an Indiana All-Star, earned several All-State honors, including being named a Mcdonald All-American. Along with scoring 1,025 career points, he set school records in games played, rebounds, and season field goal percentage. He helped Ben Davis win 3 county titles, 3 sectionals, 3 regionals, 3 semi-states, and 1 state championship under Hall of Fame coach Steve Whitting. He lives in New Albany, where he's employed in social services at the Clark County Juvenile Detention Center and with Open Doors Youth Services. However, he's unable to attend. James Patterson. Chad Peckinpah, McCutcheon High School, an Indiana All-Star, earned several All-State honors along with being named the Lafayette Area Player of the Year. He set 21 school records and had a single game high of 58 points, playing for his father, Rick Peckinpah. He played 3 seasons at Eastern Illinois and completed his career at the University of Indianapolis. Chad spent 13 seasons as an assistant for his father and is currently the head coach at Clinton Prairie, but he's unable to attend. Chad Peckinpah. Mike Renfro, Batesville High School. Mike earned several All-State honors in addition to Indianapolis All-City, All-Metro, All-Marion County, and Mid-State Conference honors. He set a school career scoring record with 1,855 points, including a single game high of 50. Mike scored over 1,500 points in 2 years at Allegheny Junior College and then played 2 years at Hofstra University. He also is the current head coach at Beach Grove High School, and they have won 3 straight sectional championships. Mike Renfro. Eric Riggs, Brownsburg High School. Eric was an Indiana All-Star, earned several All-State honors. He was also named to the USA Today All-Indiana team and was also tabbed as Suburban Male Athlete of the Year. He played 1 season at Central Florida before being drafted by the Dodgers. He played professional baseball for 10 years with the Dodgers, Astros, and Marlins organizations. Eric is in sales with BSN Sports, and he lives in Noblesville. Eric Riggs. Brad Stevens, Zionsville High School. He earned several All-State honors as well as being named to the Indianapolis All-Metro team and the Indiana Basketball Coaches Academic All-State team. He set school career records in scoring with 1,508 points, also in assists, steals, and 3-point field goals. During his career at DePaul University, he was a 3-time academic All-American. His coaching record at Butler from 2007 to 2013 was 166 and 49 as he led them to 5 NCAA appearances, 4 Horizon League championships, and back-to-back national runner-up finishes in 2010 and 2011. He received 2 Horizon League Coach of the Year awards and the 2011 National Coach of the Year award. Then, during his 8-year career as coach of the Boston Celtics, his record 354 and 282, while making 2 Eastern Conference Finals appearances and was the 2017 NBA All-Star Game head coach. He is currently president of basketball operations for the Boston Celtics. The Celtics are playing a preseason contest tonight. Guess what? Brad is unable to attend. Brad Stevens. Marcus Wilson, South Mid Riley High School, earned several All-State honors. In addition to scoring 1,385 points during his career, Mark has set 5 school records. He was named the Missouri Valley Conference Player of the Year at Evansville, where he scored 2,053 points in 119 games. He once made 48 consecutive free throws and was named the Evansville All-Time Team. It's Hall of Fame and one of the 50 greatest players in the Missouri Valley Conference. After playing professionally for 11 seasons in Europe, he currently is the executive director of the St. Louis YMCA. He, too, is sadly unable to attend. But ladies and gentlemen, there you have the 2020 Silver Anniversary Team.
It's easy to tell why he's at a job for longer than 6 days, isn't it? He's pretty good at what he does, and he's to be back up here again, because now we're getting to those that we would normally honor during this calendar year. So let's recognize these state champs from 150 and 25 years ago. And again, you will hear a repetitive theme here. In 1921, the Franklin Grizzly Cubs defended their state championship, their second of 3 in a row, as part of the Wonder 5. This team is profiled on page 9 of your program addendum. 1921 was the first year that the state finals were played at the old State Fairgrounds Coliseum, which allowed for a capacity of over 7,000 fans to mark a new state finals attendance record. 1921 was also the advent of the regional round of the state tournament, which meant that 14 teams advanced to the state finals rather than 26 the year before. Franklin would defeat Lafayette and Anderson, the same 2 teams they beat in the final 2 games the year earlier, including beating Anderson 35-22 in the championship game. Franklin became the 3rd team in the first 11 years in the state tournament to win back-to-back titles. Riz Wagner became the first 2-time state title coach, and for another 21 years, he was the only coach to accomplish said feat. Fuzzy Vanderveer was again the star of Franklin's team, leading them in scoring throughout the season and the tournament, as Franklin went 29-4 in that championship year. Ladies and gentlemen, your state champs from 100 years ago, Franklin High School. Now we have the pleasure of talking about one of the greatest teams in the history of Indiana high school basketball, the 1971 East Chicago Washington Senators. Their story is featured on page 10 of the program addendum. Every member of the starting 5 would play Division I basketball. 3 of them would play in an NCAA Final Four. 2 would do so on national championship teams. 8 seniors on that team, including all 5 starters. That had played eventual undefeated state champion East Chicago Roosevelt the previous year to a 3-point game. They were the number 1 ranked team in the state, wire to wire. They hit over 100 points in 8 different occasions. Head coach John Mullinet's team was so proficient, they scored 90 or more times, 90 or more in 15 of their 20 regular season games. They averaged outscoring their competition during the regular season by 35 points a game. In the sectional, they beat Gary Edison, East Chicago Roosevelt, and Hobart. Beat Hammond Clark and Gary West in the regional. Beat Michigan City and Rossville in the semi-state. Again, here's the theme of wonderful nicknames for teams. The team they beat in the semifinals, Floyd Central, was known as the Super Hits. The Senators scored 102 points against Floyd Central, including 40 from Keith Turgovich. Their starting 5 had 96 of the 102 points that the Senators had in that game. They played Elkhart in the state championship game. Keith Turgovich led the way with 28 points. Tim Stoddard had 19, and the Senators finished their undefeated campaign with a 70-60 victory. It was the 3rd straight unbeaten state championship team, following Indianapolis, George Washington, East Chicago Roosevelt, and then East Chicago Washington. And at the time, they were the 5th team in the 61-year history of the IHSAA to go undefeated and win a state champion. Jim Powers Jr. will join us here on the stage to help present the member of the team that could be here with us to celebrate this evening, junior forward Michael Monaghan. Members of the team that we want to recognize: Francisco Sanchez, Ruben Bailey, Darnell Adel, Hall of Famer Pete Turgovich, Al Pollard, James Williams, Marcus Stallings, Hall of Famer Junior Bridgman, Hall of Famer Tim Stoddard, Alex Contores, Robert Smith, Assistant Coach Pete Oxel, and the late Hall of Fame Coach John Moladet. Ladies and gentlemen, again, one of the greatest teams ever lace them up, the 1971 East Chicago, Washington State Champions. And now let's talk about the 1996 Ben Davis Giants. Ben Davis in 1995 expected to be the state champs. In 1996, a little bit of a different story. In January, BD was 10-6. Steve Whitty told the players in a team meeting he did not want them to get the idea that the coaching staff was down on them, but unless they became better students of the game and began improving on the court, they just might be remembered as the Ben Davis team that in 1 year destroyed about 5 years' worth of basketball championship tradition. Clearly, history was written in a different fashion by that Ben Davis team. The Giants went on a 12-game winning streak from that point forward. In the process, they helped make it possible for Ben Davis to become the only school in the history of IHSAA single-class boys basketball to make 4 consecutive trips to the Final Four. The 96 Giants team was not a team of high-profile players. Those high-profile players all graduated the year before. This 22-6 state championship team were overachievers that were, again, potentially beaten 2 or 3 times during the tournament, but they were a team of players that simply did not know when to quit. Steve Whitty says this: "I am proud to be a part of the legacy of both teams. On behalf of the Ben Davis coaching staff, it was an honor to coach the players on both teams. Because of the hard work and commitment to being the best they could be, both teams accomplished some things that most players would only dream about. And as a result, for all of us involved, we have a lifetime of wonderful memories. Congratulations to these Giants." Members of the 1996 state championship team that are here this evening, first of all, Dennis Goins, in that tremendous suit game, will come back up. And let us recognize the players from that 96 title team that could be here. Gotcha. Matt Clark. Antoine Carpenter. The current head coach for Ben Davis Giants, Don Carlisle. Roy Fry. And again, gentlemen that are already up here towards the podium, Jeff Poisel and Jan Price. Team manager, Melissa O. Ross. Strength coach, Kevin Vanderbush. Assistant coaches, Doug Opel, Kendall Price, Eric Ralph, and Terry Straub. Ladies and gentlemen, after that state champs in 1995 and 1996, the Ben Davis Giants. And Jeff, when you hit the game-winning 3, you get to be in the center of the picture. That's perfectly fine. And once again, here is Sam Zimmermaker to recognize our silver anniversary team for 2021.
Thank you, welcome everybody. I make the motion we recognize the 2021 men's silver anniversary team. Do I have a second? Thank you. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All right. Let's begin by introducing the plaque presenter. 1996 All-Star Team coach Mike Broughton, current All-Star Game Director. You'll be handing out the hardware. Let's begin with Ben Anderson of Benton Central High School. An Indiana All-Star, earned several All-State honors, set 5 school records, scored 1,541 points. He received a Mcdonald's All-American nomination and helped Benton Central win 2 sectionals. He went on to play as a member of the Indiana State Sycamores, and he is currently the street commissioner for the city of West Lafayette. Ben Anderson. Kevin Alt, Warsaw High School, Indiana Mr. Basketball, earned several All-State honors under Hall of Fame coach Al Rhodes. He set a Warsaw career scoring record with 2,028 points and led his team to a state finals appearance, averaging 13.1 points per game his senior year. They also won the Hall of Fame Classic during his junior year. At Southwest Missouri State, playing for Coach Steve Alford, he played in 132 games, twice named MVP, and scored 1,508 points. He and his family live in Noblesville, where he works in the flooring industry as business development manager with the Jack Lorry Group. He is unable to attend. He has an assignment tonight. His son is in a soccer sectional championship. We forgive him, Kevin Alt. Dwayne Clemens, Muncie South High School. Dwayne earned several All-State honors as they won the Olympic Conference and the Hall of Fame Classic during his senior year, playing for Hall of Fame coach Jimmy Howell. He was named the Muncie Star Press Player of the Year as a junior and again as a senior. At Ball State, his career scoring total 1,585 points as he led the team in scoring during his junior and senior years. After playing in England, he returned to the States as Assistant Director of Admissions for Ivy Tech in Muncie. Dwayne Clemens. Lee Kumler, Kokomo High School. An Indiana All-Star, earned several All-State honors and helped Kokomo win 2 regional and 2 North Central championships under Hall of Fame coaches Basil Mulvey and Charlie Hall. He scored 2,185 points at Morehead State and Olivet Nazarene University and earned NAIA All-American honors. He's currently the managing director with Raymond James in Fort Myers, Florida. Lee Kumler. Ron Cornell, South Bend player. An Indiana All-Star, earned several All-State honors, was a Parade Magazine All-American, a member of the 1994 state championship team under Hall of Fame coach Tom DeBates. Jerron scored 1,595 points at Purdue under Coach Gene Cady and helped them to 4 NCAA appearances, as well as being named team MVP as a junior and twice All Big Ten. He is program director for Heroes Camp and lives in South Bend. Jerron Cornell. Hudson Cunningham, Gary and Gray High School, Indiana All-Star, earned several All-State honors in addition to being named the Northwest Indiana Times and Gary Post Tribune Player of the Year. He played his freshman year at Oregon State before finishing his career at Purdue, where he was a vital member of the 1999 Sweet 16 team and a starter for the 2000 Elite 8 team. After playing 3 seasons in Europe, he spent 5 years as the head coach at Andrean, 5 years at Carroll College, and is the current head coach at NCAA Division I, University of the Incarnate Word in San Antonio, Texas. That's where he is tonight, but he is watching us on TV. Carson Cunningham. Andrew Graves, White River Valley High School. Indiana All-Star, earned several All-State honors as he set school career scoring records. Career scoring, career rebounds, three-point field goals. He helped his team win 2 sectionals, 1 regional, and 3 conference championships. Then at Butler, he played in a record-setting 121 career games as a member of the team that made 3 NCAA appearances. He is vice president of Graves Construction Services and lives in Swift City. Andrew Graves. Chris Hahn, Alexandria High School, and Indiana All-Star. He earned several All-State honors as he helped his team win 2 sectionals, 1 regional, and 3 conference championships. He played 2 seasons in Akron, earned a degree in computer science, and works for Alltech Industries as the area service manager for Michigan and Ohio. He lives in Fort Wayne. Chris Hahn. Mickey Hosier, Alexandria High School, an Indiana All-Star, earned several All-State honors as he set Indiana state records with 777 career assists. He set school, career, and game records in assists and steals. He helped his team win 2 sectionals, 1 regional, 3 conference championships. Mickey was a 3-year starter and 2-time captain at Ball State, where he led the conference twice in the assist-to-turnover ratio. He has coached at Westdale, Lakeview Christian, Alexandria, and Elwood Girls. And he's the current athletic director at Alexandria, Mickey Hosier. Michael Lewis, Jasper High School, Indiana All-Star, runner-up for Mr. Basketball, Gatorade Player of the Year, and earned several All-State honors. During his career, he scored 2,168 points and finished as the 13th highest scorer in IHSAA history. He helped Jasper win 2 conference titles, 2 sectionals, 1 regional, and the 1995 Hall of Fame Classic. He graduated from Indiana University as the all-time leader in career and single-game assists, leading the team in assists for 3 years. Michael has been an assistant coach at Stephen F. Austin, Eastern Illinois, Butler, Nebraska, and now at UCLA, coaching in last season's NCAA Final Four. He's in LA, he's with UCLA, unable to attend. Congrats, Michael Lewis. Brian McQuaid, Kokomo High School, All-State honors. Kokomo won the regional championship and was ranked #1 in Indiana. He was a 2-year co-MVP for the North Central Conference champs under Hall of Fame coaches Basil Wally and Charlie Hall. At Olivet Nazarene University, he added, in addition to 1,339 career points, a school record for 3-point field goals. The team made 4 NAIA National Tournament appearances. Ryan coached at Kokomo from 2006 to 2014 and Noblesville 2015 to 2018, winning 5 sectionals, 3 conference championships, and was the 2011 4A state runner-up. Brian McCauley. Gary Mcquaid, Gary West High School, an Indiana All-Star, earned All-State honors as he totaled 993 career points. He played in 97 games at Purdue and was among the Big Ten leaders in blocks in 1997 and 1998. He was diagnosed with leukemia in March 2000 and passed away in August 2002 at the age of 24. We remember Gary Mcquaid. Greg Mcquaid, Gary West High School and Indiana All-Star. He earned All-State honors as he totaled 1,068 career points, attended junior college at the University of Southern Idaho, and was first team NJCAA as a sophomore. After playing 2 seasons at Purdue, where he was on their NCAA Elite 8 team, Greg played professionally in Europe. Greg Mcquaid. Jeff Poisel, Ben Davis High School. Here's all state honors. Hit the game-winning 3-point shot in the 1996 state championship win over New Albany, and had also been a member of Ben Davis's 1995 state championship team. He played football at Western Kentucky, earning All-American honors, and ended as the school's 6th all-time leading scorer. He teaches math at Brownsburg and is an assistant basketball coach at Avon. Jeff Poisel. Jan Price, Ben Davis High School. Here's all state honors. Warland started on the back-to-back state championship teams. Nominated for the Mcdonald's All-American game, Jan played 3 seasons at Embry-Riddle University, winning 3 conference championships and the 2000 NAIA National Championship. He is a Material Services Sales Director for Boeing Global Services in Plano, Texas. Jan Price. Lamont Roland, New Albany High School. An Indiana All-Star, received consensus first team All-State honors, scored 1,087 career points as New Albany won 3 sectionals, 2 regionals, and 2 semi-state titles, with 2 state finals appearances under Coach Don Emery. He was the Junior College National Player of the Year at Barton County, Kansas Community College, finished his career at Louisiana State University. He scored 1,560 career points in his college career. Lamont played professionally from 2002 to 2011 in 6 countries, and he's now a production supervisor with the Reynolds Consumer Products in Louisville. Lamont is unable to attend, but his high school coach, Don Unruh, is accepting for him Lamont Roland. Carl Sykes, Franklin Central High School. He was an Indiana All-Star, earned All-State honors under Hall of Fame coach Mark James, was a 3-time MVP, All-Marion County, All-Conference, in addition to being named the Indianapolis Player of the Year his senior year. He played 2 seasons at Vincennes University, helping them to 2 junior college national tournament appearances. Carl played 1 season at Tennessee State University and currently lives in Indianapolis. He too unable to attend. Congratulations, Carl Sykes. B.J. Watts, Scottsburg High School. He was on the Hoosier Basketball Magazine first team All-State, scoring 1,294 career points and led his team to 3 conference and 3 sectional championships under Coach Tony Bennett. At the University of Southern Indiana, he played on its conference championship team and twice played in the NCAA Division II National Tournament. He has worked with Evansville school system as an Evansville City Councilman, City Council President, and is currently the chair of the Indiana State Board of Education. B.J. Watts. And that's it for your 2021 Silver Anniversary.
Tremendous job as always from Sam Sugarmaker. It is now time that we recognize the winner of the Centennial Award, which is created to recognize those who contributed to Indiana high school basketball at least 100 years ago, which includes the induction into the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame. Our award winner this year is Paul White, a 1920 graduate of Franklin High School. Again, you hear the reference that we made earlier to the Wonder Five. He was a starter on their first of their 3 consecutive state championship teams. Paul scored 10 points in the 1920 state championship win, and to put that in perspective, when Franklin beat Lafayette in the championship game, Lafayette scored 13. 10 points is a lot more back then. He was named the captain of the 1920 high school all-state team. He was a 4-year Indiana College all-state team selection at DePaul University. He was the team captain at DePaul and was named the most versatile man in the state in 1924 by the Indianapolis News. He played professionally for 1 season with the Fort Wayne Hoosiers. He coached 14 seasons at Fairmount and New Haven high schools. All passed away in 1952. Ladies and gentlemen, again with induction in the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame, our Centennial Award winner is Paul Cox. Now we want to recognize our Hall of Famers that sadly are no longer with us and have passed away. We will be presenting for any of those that have a family member that is present tonight. We will present them with the Hall of Fame induction plaque recognizing their accomplishment. The first person that we are recognizing this evening, Bill Berberian. To give you an idea as to what Bill means to the West Lafayette community, the Red Devils play their games in the Berberian Gymnasium. He spent 28 of his 31 years as a high school head coach at West Lafayette. From 1953 to 1980, Bill won 374 games during that time. Hoosier Conference Championship 4 times. And in 1979, West Lafayette was the regional champs, the first in school history, and it was their first sectional championship in 43 years. That doesn't sound like a lot. Let me remind you of geography. West Lafayette shared a sectional with Lafayette Czech for the entirety of that time, and it was rare the Broncos allowed another local team to win a sectional championship. Bill also spent time in Greensburg, where he won a sectional title and won a South Central Conference championship. Bill won over 400 career games during his 31 years as a high school coach. He was a standout in Illinois high school basketball, played at Thornton High School, set the school's career scoring record, and was part of the 28-1 team his senior year. He was all-state as a junior and senior, and he is already a member of the Illinois Basketball Hall of Fame. Following military service, Bill earned the Bronze Star, Combat Infantryman Badge, and the Presidential Unit Citation for his role as an artillery forward observer during the Battle of the Bulge in World War II. After that, he was then a team captain and team MVP at Purdue. Bill passed away December 6th of last year, and unfortunately a family member could not be here to be with us tonight. Once again, let's recognize the life and the contribution to Indiana high school basketball of Bill Berberian. We do have someone here to accept the flag. My apologies. I had the pleasure of getting to meet Bill right before he passed away, about a year and a half or so before that, in August of 2019. David Wood just finished his tenure as the head coach of West Lafayette. And the folks in West Lafayette are so lucky they have had, it will now be when this season starts, they have had 5 boys basketball coaches since 1953. Pretty special group they have had at West Lafayette. Our next honoree is the late Alan Garner, who led Pike teams to 2 IHSAA state championships in his very successful head coaching career. A native of Ohio, where he won 167 games in 15 seasons, his Indiana coaching career began at Anderson Highland. Over a 10-year stretch, his Highland teams had a winning percentage of over 700. They won the Olympic Athletic Conference 4 times. They were a 1991 sectional and regional champs, and they won the 1991 Hall of Fame Classic. Allen took over Pike in 1995. His teams in 6 seasons would go 109-37. They won 3 conference championships, 1 Marion County championship, 3 sectionals, 2 regionals, 2 semi-states, and they won 2 of the first 4 4A IHSAA state championships. His record in this state was a combined 251 in 96. You combine his time in Ohio and Indiana, he won 418 games. In 15 years as a high school basketball coach in the state, he coached 10 Indiana All-Stars, including sons Link and Ty, as well as 2 Indiana Mr. Basketballs. Alan passed away in September of 2019. You see his family lined up off to my right. Representing the family is his widow, Diane Garner. Ladies and gentlemen, Indiana Basketball Hall of Famer, Alan Garner. Our next honoree is the late Ted Guzek, a Hoosier native who made his name as a standout at Butler University. A 1954 graduate of Hammond Morton High School, where he averaged 19 points a game for an 18-5 sectional runner-up. He joined a talented group of players under Tony Hinkle at Butler, with names like Keith Reed, Bobby Plump, Ray Craft, and one Wally Thomas at the end of this podium as well. A 3-year starter at Butler, he twice set the Bulldogs single-game scoring record with 37 against Notre Dame as a sophomore. He liked playing the Irish. He scored 38 against them as a junior. He had the single-season scoring record at the time, and he graduated 3rd in school history with 1,300 career points, despite missing time his senior season with a broken ankle. In one NCAA tournament game, Ted went 13 of 13 from the field against Michigan. He was a 3-time All-Conference pick, a 1957 Helms All-American, where he averaged 21 points and 8 rebounds a game. He was part of Butler's 5-man All-1950s team, a member of the inaugural Butler Athletics Hall of Fame induction class. He was also one of 10 players named to Butler's all-time men's basketball team back in 1998. He was an educator. Sadly, he and his wife Peggy were killed in an automobile accident in 1974. Representing the family and accepting the induction flag on behalf of the late Ted Guzek is his son, Ted Guzek Jr. Ladies and gentlemen, Ted Guzek. Our next honoree is John Lee. John set scoring records at Newcastle Chrysler High School and continued with All-American honors at Ball State University. His senior year coincided with the opening of the Newcastle Fieldhouse, a building he christened by setting single-season Trojan records of 575 points, a scoring average of just under 24 points a game, making 217 field goals and shot 82% from the free throw line. His single-game records of 18 made free throws and 52 points in the 1960 sectional remained the venue record for 13 years. His Trojan career scoring average of 19 points per game was the best for over 2 decades. At Ball State, he scored over 1,100 points in 65 games, equating to over 17 points per contest, and never scored less than 16.5 points per game in his 3 years of eligibility. As a senior, he earned all Indiana Collegiate Conference and UPI Small College All-American recognitions. He made his living in education, worked in Marion, Shenandoah, and Newcastle before retiring in 1999. John was aware that he had made the Hall of Fame, but sadly passed away on December 19th of 2019. Representing the family and accepting the induction flag on behalf of John is Dr. John Lee Jr. Ladies and gentlemen, John Lee. Our next honoree is the late Davidge Minor. He is noted for multiple basketball firsts. A 1941 graduate of Gary Froebel, Minor gained notice first as a player in Northwest Indiana, one of the first to develop a jump shot. Before, as a senior captain, he did lead Froebel their first and only state finals appearance, where he was an all-state honoree. He enrolled at the University of Toledo. He averaged 16 points per game, second team All-American recognition by the Sporting News in 1943, and then went to serve his country in World War II. in the U.S. Army. After returning from the war, he resumed his college career at UCLA. He was first team All-Pacific Coast Conference. He's a member of the 1949 Oakland Vintners of their AAU National Championship team, played the Pan American Games, and briefly played with the Harlem Globetrotters. He made further history in 1951 when he joined the Baltimore Bullets, becoming the first African American to play for an NBA team south of the Mason-Dixon line, the first African American from Indiana to play in the NBA, and one of the first 5 African Americans to ever play in the NBA. In 2 seasons with Baltimore and Milwaukee, he totaled 900 points, 500 rebounds. He became a business owner before retiring to Orlando. He passed away in 1998. Ladies and gentlemen, Gabbage Meyer. Our next honoree is Bob Perkiser. He took his Hoosier Hardwood success to additional fame overseas. A 1961 Indiana All-Star, lettered in 4 sports at Bluffton High School. Part of Bluffton's 21-6 1960 semi-state finalist team. He was 18-7 as a senior, where his Bluffton squad made the regional finals. Bob played 3 sports at Purdue University. He was the 6th Boilermaker to surpass 1,000 career points. He was 5th in program history when he graduated. He averaged 20 points per game as a senior and was named All Big Ten. In addition to that, he was a pitcher at Purdue, and he had a Big Ten best ERA of .76 as a senior and was drafted by the Minnesota Twins. Bob then served the United States Army. He played in the Army leagues, became a standout player and coach in French professional leagues, gaining national recognition and status as a basketball icon, as multiple-time All-Star and league MVP, and was referenced by the New York Times in 1972 as the best player in France. He was coaching in France when he was killed in an automobile accident in Le Mans in 1982 at the age of 39. Representing the family and accepting on behalf of the late Bob Perkiser is his brother, Jay. Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Perkiser. The late Ray Razor earned accolades as a high school and college player, as well as notable coach and administrator roles. Ray was a 1953 graduate of Holland High School, where he set school records in single game points with 41, season scoring with 617, and career points with 830. He averaged 23.7 points per game his senior year and led Holland to their first sectional championship, was the state's leading scorer in the regional round in 1953. He scored 62 points in 2 games. His college career included 858 points in 2 seasons at Oakland City and set the school's single-season scoring record. His senior year points per game average of 25.8 was second best in the state that year, only behind Hall of Famer Bailey Robertson. He coached 18 seasons at Princeton, Orleans, Princeton, Holland, and Southridge High School, where he totaled 201 wins, 5 sectional championships, and was an assistant coach for 1998 IHSAA 2A Girls State Champions at Southridge. He served for 15 years as the last principal of Holland High School, and he was the first principal of Southridge High School, and he served 2 terms on the IHSAA Board of Control. He passed away in 2018, representing the family and accepting the induction flag on his behalf is Terry Rodemaker. Ladies and gentlemen, Ray Resser. And our final honoree that is no longer with us is the late Mark Seeley. Mark set numerous records at Pike High School before his life was tragically cut short. He was honorable mention All-State in 76 and 77, first team academic All-State. He played for his father, Hall of Fame coach Ed Siegel. Twice he was first team All-Marion County, and he was All-Conference twice as well. 14 points a game as a junior, 20 points per game as a senior. Along the way, he set 6 Pike records, including 13 assists in one game, 108 in one season, 271 in his career, and 11 steals in one game as well. Martin played the first 4 games of his freshman year at the University of Evansville. He was amongst the 29 lives that were lost in the December 13, 1977 plane crash that claimed the lives of every University of Evansville player and their coaching staff that year. Representing the family and accepting the induction plaque on behalf of the late Mark Siegel is his sister, Julie Siegel Redmond. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Siegel. Now it is time to recognize our Indiana Pacers Silver Medal Award winner, which includes induction into the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame, and it is the man seated to my immediate right, former Grace College head coach, Jim Kessler. Head men's basketball coach at Grace for 42 years. His team's won 788 games. That makes him the 28th winningest men's basketball coach in any division in this country. His teams had 18 20-win seasons, 3 30-win seasons, 10 conference championships, made the NAIA National Tournament 9 times, won the 1992 NAIA Division II National Championship, and 4 times finished as the National Christian College Athletic Association runners-up. Jim was the 1992 NAIA National Coach of the Year, the 83 and 92 NCCAA National Coach of the Year, and numerous times won the Conference Coach of the Year honors. He is an inductee into the NAIA Hall of Fame, the NCCAA Hall of Fame, and an inaugural inductee into the Grace College Athletic Hall of Fame. He has served as a court coach for USA Basketball, has hosted a coaches clinic at the Final Four, led Grace on international mission trips to at least 8 countries, and has directed over 20,000 campers at the annual Lancer Basketball Camp. He is a 1966 graduate of Northwest High School in Hughesville, Missouri. He resides in Nona Lake, Indiana, and simply put, he is one of the best at any level to ever coach in this state. Our Indiana Pacers Silver Medal Award winner, Jim Kessler.
I would be remiss not to mention 2 Crossroads Conference collegiate coaches who passed away since the last time we met. Paul Patterson, Failing University, and Steve Platt from Huntington College. He's actually in the Naismith Hall of Fame as a school. Those 2 guys will be missed in our conference around basketball in Indiana. To be honored, to be selected to the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame is an ultimate honor for a Hoosier basketball guy can receive. Having played high school basketball and began my coaching journey in Missouri, I now coached at Grace College in Indiana, actually 44 years. I was assistant coach for 2 years. I've grown up to appreciate the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame as the ultimate fraternity of basketball players and coaches in the state, if not the country. I feel like an adopted child who's found a home here in Indiana. My sincere gratitude is beyond words. I wish to thank the Hall of Fame Selection Committee and the PACE organization for this honor being selected to the Indiana Hall of Fame. My career at Grace College spanned 5 presidents, 9 athletic directors, and I've lost count of the Lancer campers and students and even a few players probably. I can honestly say I feel blessed beyond deserving to be able to work and be paid to serve the Lord by doing something I thoroughly enjoy doing. My goal is to do the best and be the best and remain faithful to God's calling to influence young men and women to grow spiritually, academically, and as athletes while teaching and coaching at Grace. I can assure you that the success I've enjoyed has been more to the credit of my players, coaching staff, and administrative support. As every coach knows, at some time, we've all been on the wall of blame, and perhaps justly so. But at those times is often when we learn how to go forward to improve ourselves as coaches and to help our teams. A special thanks to my teammate and wife of 53 years, Suzanne, to my 4 loyal to a fault daughters, Kimberly, Sarah, Jennifer, and Janelle, and their husbands, and my 14 grandchildren. Thanks goes to my college coach, Chet Cameron, who is also a member of the Hall of Fame, who's now with the Miami Heat, because he recruited me as a player from the hills of Missouri, then to join his staff in 1975 at Grace College. Thanks to the Grace College administration for my first contract as assistant coach, track and field coach, and professor of physical education. A special thanks to my men who made me look good many, many times, and to call me the name I love, Coach. And to their parents who trusted me with their son. Another word of thanks to the many assistant coaches who traveled through the backwoods of Indiana recruiting, traipsed across multiple countries with me, and worked through untold hours of practice and coaching decisions along the way. I pray that my career can best be summed up by my life verses, Philippians 3:7-14. I press on toward the goal for the prize of the upward call of God in Jesus Christ. Again, thank you to the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame for extending me the privilege to join this esteemed basketball fraternity of basketball players and coaches.
Jim, congratulations, and I'm so glad that you mentioned Paul and Steve. Steve's playing career in Huntington was so good that Sports Illustrated did a feature on him back in the 70s, one of the coaches on the ladder for many years. Paul, of course, has influenced so many folks, just as Jim has at Grace and Taylor. When I think of basketball fans and teams and the fact that coaches were there for decades in that league, people like John Grimes at Marion, Mike Lightfoot at Bethel, and the generation that is there now with Greg Tonney winning at Wesleyan, Coach Hetty at Marion University, Scott Moore filling your shoes at Grace College. It is a wonderful basketball league, and Jim, you are certainly deserving of that in the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame. Our next person we are happy to recognize now as a Hall of Famer with the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame is Wally Thomas. Wally's historic record in Broad Ripple High School followed by more of the same at Butler University. He had the Broad Ripple career mark for scoring at the time at 750 points, but 429 in one season. First team All-City in 1954 and was an Indiana All-Star. Again, part of a tremendous recruiting class for Tony Hinkle at Butler. He had the freshman varsity scoring record. He had 990 career points at Butler University, teaming with Ted Guzak, Keith Reed, Bobby Plump, and Ray Crabb. Wally had 19 points in Butler's 1958 NIT win over St. John's in Madison Square Garden, had 19 points win over Indiana in the 1957 Hoosier Classic, part of the five-man 1950s All-Decade team at Butler, and part of the Butler Athletics Hall of Fame. Wally continued to play competitive basketball until the age of 75. He was a member of two, applaud for that, absolutely. I'll stop talking for that. He was a member of two National Senior Championship and AAU National Senior Championships in 1991 and 1996. Retired from career education and insurance, he now resides in Pittsburgh. Ladies and gentlemen, Wally Thomas.
Wow. This is something else, I'll tell you. When you get to be 85, things like this don't happen very often. In fact, I told Chris May, I said, after the first postponement of this dinner, a year and a half, 2 years ago, I said, okay, let's put it off. And, but, think about getting it scheduled. So the second postponement came along, and I said to Chris, hey, could we speed this thing up just a little bit? Advance the date, you know? Because 85-year-old guys, I don't plan too far ahead unless my wife's got a schedule for me, you know. But this has been a great day. All day at Newcastle, and my family got to walk through that place. What a home for basketball. But basketball's been really good to me. It started out when I was just a kid, and I had 3 coaches at my boys' club down in inner city Indianapolis. And Mr. Gimmer, Mr. Rehab, Mr. Woodruff. And I remember one of my coaches. And I'm sure you young guys sitting there, if you thought about it, who you owe a lot of your skills to and what made you what you are today. We all were fortunate to have coaches. At Broad Ripple High School, after I was at the boys' club with those 3 gentlemen, who followed me all the way through college and everything, I went to Broad Ripple High School, and needless to say, I had another Hall of Fame coach, Frank Baird. And Frank Baird, All-American in Butler, All-American in basketball, baseball, great official, and he's in the Hall of Fame on everything. So I was lucky, I was blessed. And then what happens next? Mr. Baird talks to Mr. Hinkle at Butler. And Mr. Hinkle had a couple guys from Iowa coming up named Kraft and Plum. And he said, you could use a tall guard. And so the next thing I know, a guy named Tony Hinkle, Mr. Hinkle, came to my house. And I was going to Miami, Florida. I had 5 or 6 flowery short sleeve shirts picked out, and I paid for them, and I had short. Well, I was looking good. And Bruce Hale was going to be coaching down there, former Olympian basketball coach. He was starting the program at Miami, Florida. I was ready to go. But a strange thing happened. Got a phone call from Mr. Hinkle at Butler. And he came to my house and knocked at the door, and there was Mr. Hinkle. And my mom opened the door and says, well, hi there, Tony. And my dad was right behind her and said, hi, Tony. Hi, Lloyd. Hi, Thelma. Well, hi, kid. How you doing? I was standing in the background, so and they came. So I sat down at the kitchen table. Mr. Hinkle was never a high-pressure recruiter, and I found out that night. As he talked with my dad, they talked about fishing, they talked about hunting, and they talked about farming, and they talked about Russellville High School where my dad played. So this went on for 45 minutes or an hour, and I'm sitting there at the table, my mom's pouring the coffee and giving Mr. Hinkle a piece of her homemade pie, and I'm thinking to myself, boy, Mr. Hinkle's come here to talk to my dad. And about that time, Mr. Hinkle looked over at me and he said, kid, we got a nice school at Butler. And I've seen you play, and I could use a tall guard with these 2 shrimps I got coming from Miami. And I've seen you handle the ball, and you could be a good passer for us too. So I became a pretty good passer for Butler, and I always told Plump, I said, if you took the ball out of bounds more often and threw it in me, maybe I'd outscore you once again. But I was blessed all the way through high school with the coaches I had, and I'll tell you all you young players that are here tonight, thank your coaches. I had 3 of my kids from middle school. I was not a high school coach. I was a middle school coach because I loved middle school. My wife used to look at me and say, she was a 30-year high school teacher at Southport, and she'd look at me right in the eye and says, how do you put up with those middle school kids? And I'd look her right back in the eye and say, I don't know how you put up with those high school kids. So we were both in the right spot at the right time. But as far as what basketball did for me, the climax of all this is what it did for my kids and my grandkids. I've got two kids that played Paramedian, and one of them went on to Franklin College, my girl, Lisa, and she was on a state champion in the IA team at Franklin College, went on to the Nationals in Michigan. She was a heck of a player. And my son played at Paramedian, and he stunk Ben Davis one year. I'm sorry, Ben Davis guys, but when you had Jim Sarkeen and some of those guys, my son knocked down a couple of free throws in the last 7 seconds to beat you guys and go to the semi-state. So I apologize for his accuracy. But he went on to Wabash, played for Mcquaid, another Hall of Famer coach. And he had 48% from the three-point line. That's not bad. How many of you guys shot threes for the season and shot 48%? Woo! So that was Steve Cox, and his record's still on the book for the Wabash, so I'm a proud dad. My granddaughters played at Tri-West High School. They played a sectional out there, champion. They, one girl still holds a Tri-West scoring record after 10 years. Good old Samantha, before she could shoot it. And I had grandsons that played at Franklin Central. Went on to college, played at Wabash, Wills Holland. My wife was always the official scorekeeper, and she had a stack of scorerbooks about that high. And so she always knew how the kids did, but we also kept track of the time. So, but in closing, I want to say one thing. Some of those guys had a chance to be pretty good. I'll tell you, I've seen some of you young guys play. Man, you're good. But back when I played, back in the 40s and 50s, scores were more like the Milan score before, 32 to 30. And then the other championship scores were like 24, 21, so on. So it was a different game. But you guys had an opportunity to thank the coaches. And guys like this, they don't come around every day. I had 3 kids come up to me just before this dinner tonight, and unbeknownst to me, they played middle school basketball today in 1976, and they came out with clear the sky. Bless their heart. We were undefeated that year, so they thought I was pretty good. So thanks so much. This has been a blessed night for Wally Thomas.
First of all, for the guys in the 2 rows in front of us here, I'm of the same age group as you. I'm about maybe a year or 2 older than all you guys. He referred to us as young guys a couple of times. As those of us in our 40s don't get that very often anymore, so soak that up a little bit while you have the opportunity. Wally was talking about being thankful for a coach. He also referenced Franklin Central and Meridian, and that is clearly part of the story of our next inductee. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark James. He is currently in the top 20 in terms of winningest high school basketball coaches in the state of Indiana. Graduated from Martinsville in 1973. Played under Hall of Famer Sam Alford. Played at McMurray College before suffering injuries, where he became a student coach. He was an assistant coach at Carmel for Hall of Fame coach Larry Engel before setting off on his own. 3 years at Covington High School, then 26 years as the head coach at Franklin Central. 7 years at Ben Davis High School, including their latest state championship in 2017. Soon he'll begin his 4th year as the head coach at Perry Meridian. All told, his teams have won 587 games, 13 sectionals, 2 regionals, 6 conference championships, 2 Marion County championships, numerous holiday tournament wins. Franklin Central won the 2009 Hall of Fame Classic. He has been named the Marion County Coach of the Year 5 times, married to his wife Pam and father of 4, resides here on the south side of Indianapolis. As a quasi-journalist, there is a phrase that we use called boots on the ground in terms of reporting. Well, now there are boots in the Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark James.
Things are probably never as bad as you think. Like my voice right now, I apologize for my voice going in. But I don't yell all the time. They're operating my control. On Thursday, I had a growth on the right side of my vocal cords. Not supposed to be a big deal. They're going to take care of it. So I'm sorry. I apologize in advance for my voice. Things are never as bad as you think, and never as good as you think. They usually fall someplace in between. This experience is very humbling and hard to put in words for me, but ranks right up there as one of the best experiences of my life. Congratulations to the other inductees. Thanks to the Hall of Fame, the selection committee, and all of everybody. This is a great honor. My journey started with 2 loving parents in Martinsville, Janice and Jesse James. They taught my brother and I, Tim, the values that I've always tried to live by. The most important things in life we cannot control. So we try to control things we can. That's your attitude and effort. Our hard work, discipline, honesty, and loyalty will pay off. What a big payoff tonight is for me. I played basketball for John Holmes as a freshman, Sam Alford after that in high school, and that's when I decided maybe I want to become a teacher coach. Dear Larry Angle was nice enough to let me join his staff as an assistant at Carmel in 1977. One thing I've learned is successful people are ones that have taken advantage of the opportunities in front of them. I've had great opportunities during my journey. Any success I've had as a coach is because I've been in the right place at the right time. I've been blessed with special people in my life, assistant coaches, friends, mentors, all-star basketball players who played in the NBA. The list just goes on. And school administrators that have been more than supportive and talented over the years. Coaching basketball is like driving on ice. It's really hard to control at times. But coaching basketball in Marion County is like driving an ice storm. The players you play against, I've been lucky enough to do this for 36 years in the county. Coached against guys like Larry Angle, Larry Bolton, Alan Garner, Scott Heddy, J.R. Holmes, Jack Kiefer, Doug Mitchell, Ed Siegel, Bill Springer, Steve Whitty, Bill Zick, and the list just goes on. And I'm not even going to start on players. So any win we've got has been hard work. And they don't come easy in our county. Winning is all about doing the right thing at the right time. I won big 42 years ago when I married my wife, Pam. And we've been blessed with 4 great kids, Jessica, Derek, Nicole, and Kyle. I cannot imagine a more supportive family than the one I've been lucky enough to have. Every coach in this room knows the amount of time we spend away from our families. They hit our family's take because we're spending time with someone else's children. This fall Hall of Fame induction is obviously a neat experience in my life. It's a special event in my life. It does not and will never define who I am, though. The sacrifices that the James gang has made over the years has paid off for me in many, many ways. And that's what makes me whole. They are what define me. I cannot put it in words. My love for them. And thanks again for this evening and everything, all that you have done.
Just the way the kind of years have worked out in terms of our 100-year and 50-year and 20-year teams, 25-year teams. We have referenced some of the best basketball teams in the history of the state of Indiana. The Wonder Five, Ben Davis 1995, East Chicago Roosevelt, East Chicago Washington, back-to-back undefeated state championship teams. The gentleman we're about to recognize next was a part of one of the greatest basketball teams in the history of the state of Indiana. And we referenced the Wonder Five. We had that cool nickname of the Super Hicks from Floyd Central 50 years ago. But if you're from Marion and the surrounding area, when it comes to nicknames of basketball teams, Purple Rain is immediately what comes to mind. Lyndon Jones is our next honoree that we're recognizing tonight. 1987, Co-Indiana Mr. Basketball. The Giants won 3 consecutive state championships, 85, 86, 87. Lyndon was a Mcdonald's All-American, Parade Magazine All-American. During that 3-year run, the Giants went 84-4, and if the 3 state championships in a row needed some sort of superlative or addition to it, how about this? The Giants went 21-0 in the North Central Conference during those 3 years. His team won 40 consecutive games over his sophomore and junior seasons, and they were ranked #1 in the nation by USA Today in 1987. Lyndon is one of 3 men ever to start on 3 consecutive one-class state championship teams. At Indiana University, he played in 117 games, part of 2 Big Ten champs, 2 NCAA tournament Sweet 16 teams, Hoosiers team captain in 1991, played briefly in the CBA, has been employed at Cummins since 2005, and resides in Fishers. Ladies and gentlemen, Lyndon Jones.
Forgot about some of that. So this is great. It's a great honor. Great to be here. See some of the guys that I followed during their basketball career over the years. When I got the call from Chris May almost 2 years ago now, it was one of those days I was busy at work, and Chris and I, we talk from time to time, so I didn't think it was anything, right? So he left me a voicemail, I called him back and said it was urgent. So he goes into his spiel about, hey, you've been selected, going to the Hall of Fame, and I stopped him. I was like, Chris, stop me. I'm busy today, and I don't have time for this right now. So, tell me really what's going on. He said, no, I'm serious. And so my PG version, I said, you got to be freaking kidding me, right? Because I wasn't sure this was going to happen. So he said, no, this is real. And so I said, I accept. He said, that's good, because we never had anyone reject. I want you to be the first. So you don't have to worry about that. My kids would kill me if they found that out. So, but no, just really honored to be here tonight and receive this honor. I'd like to thank God for this honor, this tremendous honor. Without Him, no blessings that I've received throughout the years, none of this would be possible. I would also like to congratulate my fellow inductees this evening. I heard a lot of great stories about my legendary coach, Bill Green. He's got to tell me a lot of things that I did not know. Keep it quiet, okay. I would also like to say thank you, and I appreciate it to the Hall of Fame committee. Thank you for selecting me, and also a special thank you to Harry Frick. Those of you who know Harry Frick, he's a bulldog, and he's part of the reason why I'm up here tonight. He helped me get everything I needed to be up here tonight. So thank you for that. There's a lot of people that I would like to thank, but in a lot of time, I'm not going to go do that. So I'm just going to do a blanket thank you to my friends, my in-laws, all the people in Marion, Purple Rain, great mention Purple Rain, great town, great followers of basketball. I would also like to give a special thanks to my aunts, my Aunt Cheryl and my Aunt Elizabeth. They're here tonight. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come down. And just a little bit about my early on development in basketball. So she hates when I tell this story, but my Aunt Elizabeth and I were close in age. And so my mother would go to work. My Aunt Elizabeth would be the person to watch over me, okay? And so I had 2 options, right? I could be her personal butler all day and do everything that she was supposed to do, right? Or I could go outside and practice and play and go find a game of basketball. So needless to say, I chose the latter of the 2, right? Because the repercussions, if I didn't do what she wanted me to do, were not favorable for me. So thank you, Elizabeth, for that. Appreciate it. I would also like to thank all the coaches I've had over the years. I played for 2 legendary coaches, Bill Green, who was the winningest coach in the state of Indiana in terms of titles, and then, of course, Bob Knight. Right, learned a lot of lessons from both of those guys that I carry on to this day. I would also like to give a special shout out to my teammates, right? All the teams that I played on, 3 state championships, and a special shout out to the starting 5. Kyle, first singer, Eric Ewer, and Derek Keys were part of that dream team. And also my partner in crime, Jay Evers, who I hope someday gets to stand up here himself and take his acceptance speech as well. And to my wife, we just celebrated 25 years of marriage. I know I don't look that old, but we just celebrated 25 years of marriage to my best friend. So thank you for this program. And then my wonderful and beautiful kids, Lark and Lyric, and they get a kick out of this. You should have seen them in the Hall of Fame today. They were just all around, they were looking at all the marrying stuff, and they're just fascinated by this all. So just really proud of you girls and love you. My mom and my dad, my stunning mom over there. Can you stand up, Mom? Thank you for all your sacrifices over the years and everything that you taught me, right? I tried to be the man that you wanted me to be. I tried to be the father and the husband that you wanted me to be. And so I hope you're proud of me tonight. Stand up here. Because I'm so proud of you and everything that you've done for me in my life. So thank you, Mom. Appreciate it. So if you canvass these guys sitting out here today, they probably would say the same thing. You get a lot of questions, especially in the workplace. So in corporate America, you get a lot of guys that want to be athletes, but aren't athletes, and so they always ask you, what did you take away from the game? Right? And so that's an interesting question. So I've always thought about that, and here recently, so I knew that this was coming up, so I really thought about it, and I said, what did I take away from the game? So I was a point guard, right? And so my job was to make sure everybody else shined, and then I did my thing after that, right? And so the one thing that I took away from this game that's helped shape my mentality and my leadership style over the years is setting others up for success. That's the passion for me. That's what I do, right? And it's such a passion for me that if I'm traveling, and I travel a ton, I try to make sure that I'm home on Thursday evenings because you guys, IU fans, don't get mad at me, but I partnered with the Purdue guy, Woody Austin. And we have a program that we have together where we mentor young student athletes, right? And we don't do it for anything else, but we want to make sure that they have all the right fundamentals to make sure they excel in life, right? Student athletes, not as athletes, but student athletes. So we have a story to tell, and we have a passion for teaching those young men and young ladies what they need to do. And so that's just when you think about what the game has done for me. When I think about what the game has done for me, it's setting others up for success. And last but not least, my grandmother, right? And so I would like to, my grandmother, Donna Joyce Jones, who's no longer with us. She was the person that really lit my fire in terms of sports and basketball. That was our bond. We watched sports together, right? She loved basketball. And so, in recognition of her memory, I'd like to dedicate this night to her. Right? This is for her. This is for my family. I know she's smiling down me tonight, and she's smiling and she's happy and she's praising God that this happened. So thank you. This has been a wonderful evening. I appreciate it. I'm glad that I could make it. I wouldn't miss it for the world. My family would kill me had I had something else going on. But thank you guys for coming out, and it's been a blessing. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Next up is a gentleman that was a star in multiple sports in the 1950s and beyond, in high school and college basketball, but in football as well. In fact, we're all about, what, a half mile from our shared collegiate alma mater as we speak. Dick Nyers is our next inductee in the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame. Three-time first-team All-City player at Manual High School. Set the school single season scoring record in 3 successive seasons. He was a leading scorer in Indianapolis as a junior at 17 points a game, averaged 19 points a game as a senior. He had 30 in a game as a junior, 34 as a senior. At Indiana Central College, that's now the University of Indianapolis, for the rest of you, he is second in career scoring when he graduated at 754 career points. Second in career scoring average. First in field goal attempts, second in free throws made, and he still holds the school record for single season free throws made at 180. He was a starter for the Greyhounds on their 1956 team that went 23-6. That team averaged over 90 points per game and won the Hoosier College Conference title and the NAIA District Championship. Dick played professional football for the Baltimore Colts. He was the receiver of Johnny Unitas' first NFL touchdown pass. As a Greyhound, trust me, I've got this vivid memory as well. Led the football team with 8-0 mark in 1954. He coached football at Carmel and Edinburgh, as well as Ball State University and the University of Indianapolis. Retired from his business ownership in 2016, and he calls Columbus home. Ladies and gentlemen, Dick Nyers.
First off, I want to thank God for the ability that He gave me. Without Him, I wouldn't be standing here before you today. I'm also grateful to the whole. Any of you that know me knows me as a football player. But I was a heck of a basketball player too. And, I've won a lot of awards, state, locally, and nationally. But none of them can compare to tonight. We're going into the Basketball Hall of Fame when you've been known as a football player. When you receive the Indiana High School or Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame, it's quite an honor. And a lot of times, I come from a school that was so overlooked during the time that I played basketball that if you ask them, you play basketball? Yeah. I'm going to challenge everyone in this room, because I know I have some great basketball players here. I have some great teams here. I want to ask you, did any of you play for a team that never played home basketball? Hold your hand. Manual High School never played home basketball. Now you stop and think of that. Some of you know the home referees that you have. The referees that do around but really it was something. Really, I want to go through a brief steps of people who helped me along the way. And you'll recognize some of the names and some of the names you don't. First, the Narsdale twins. My brother and I were kind of the forerunners of the Narsdale twins. We graduated in 51 and 52, and of course they came along in the late 50s. They broke my record by a few points, but they didn't play in the conditions that I played in. Most of these people up here probably have been through what I've been through, and that is when I was in the 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, I was known as an alley rat. You know what that meant? I played in probably every basketball game within a quarter mile of my elementary school. How many of you guys did that? Raise your hand. How many of you were alley rats? I know you were. Don't be embarrassed to raise your hand. But As I approached the 7th and 8th grade, I had two coaches. One was one that taught me just to enjoy basketball. We played every Tuesday and Thursday night. Never practiced, just showed up and played. You ever seen a bunch of 7th graders that would never play basketball? They're like ants after they run around on the court. Well, that's the way it was in the 7th grade back then. Also, I played for a guy by the name of Sergeant Kim. He was the head of the at Kirby Olbermann. My 8th grade year, I had an opportunity to be appointed to the All-Star team that played other public parks. And that was the forerunner of going into high school. Now, in high school, I played for a guy by the name of Mcquaid. Never won very much. We always were about 500. And he taught me some of the finer points of the game of basketball. And he helped me grow as a young man. And I'm proud of him. After graduating from high school, I went on to Indiana Central College and played for Reynolds. What a time that was. My senior year, we put together probably with their greatest small college basketball team of that era. Let me tell you who the players were on the team. 4 Hall of Famers. Jewel, David Robertson, Bill Hampton, and yours truly. How good was that team? They won 23, lost 6. And listen to this. They had 7 games over 100 points and 10 games over 90 points. Now that's 17 out of 29 games that we won that year. It was truly a great time. I want to introduce my family at this time. They're sitting over here at this table. Raise your hand. Most of them were not around in my high school career. But there were 2 people, Jake Miller, who traveled from Milford, Connecticut to be here tonight. Raise your hand. Okay. And my son, Brad Myers, who traveled here from Charleston, South Carolina. Now, I got a little story to tell you about Brad. Brad used to go to all the football games with me. And so when Chris called me, I called Brad and I said, Brad, I'm going to be inducted into the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame. He said, basketball? You play basketball? Of course, he didn't live during my basketball time. He lived during my football time. But anyway, great. And I'm sorry my mother, dad, and grandmother cannot be here tonight because they were the ones who really drafted me. I want to thank the Basketball Hall of Fame again. It's been quite an honor. Thank you very much. And hope you all have a great night. Thank you.
I was a little concerned about the fact that I was missing the University of Indianapolis' homecoming football game tonight. As long as I tell the folks I was with Dick Nyers, they will not care about that. Our next honoree this evening is Kirby Olbermann. Kirby is up as the 1973 head coach of the state champs, New Albany Bulldogs. Kirby led the programs at Otterman, Benton Central, North Dearborn, Batesville, New Albany, Hamilton Heights, Bluffton, and Cloverdale. He won 230 games as an Indiana high school head coach, 173 wins in high schools in Florida and Virginia, and was also the former head coach at IUPUI. His Bulldogs were 21-7, and they won the state championship in 1973 at Assembly Hall in Bloomington after victories over Franklin and South Bend Adams. He was also the first high school coach tapped to lead the Indiana All-Star team. He swept Kentucky in 1974, even coached a victory against the Russian junior national team. 5-time conference coach of the year, 6 statewide coach of the year honors. including in 1973 from Sports Writers and Sportscasters, Indiana Basketball Coaches Association, Bloomington Herald Telephone, and he was the Ball State Alumni Coach of the Year. He now calls Lancaster, Kentucky home, Kirby Olbermann.
It's been an interesting day for me. I see and hear a lot of people that I remember coaching against, some we played against, but some that I knew and were from even my area of Rich County. So it's been an interesting day and I've enjoyed it. I'll be brief. The honor of becoming an Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame inductee also belongs to my players, my assistant coaches, schools, and communities who've been a part of my journey. I'm grateful, I'm humbled, and extend my thanks to the Hall of Fame family for bestowing this honor upon me. My love for the game of basketball and my desire to become one of the best coaches has given me, through these 6 decades, has required a lot of effort, done a lot of desire, and I thank you. There have been many players and coaches and others who I must extend my thanks to for their support through the 47 years of my coaching career. Tonight I reflect upon one very important item, and that is player-coach relationships. I think it's one of the most important parts of developing success and respect, mutual respect that we've had for each other. I spent many days seated in the front row, attending coaches' clinics across the United States, and each of these I would listen and talk to some of the best coaches, such as John Wooden, Bob Knight, Huey Brown, who I've become very close friends with. From these and other coaches, I was inspired with new ideas, learning how to teach my players the game of basketball, and how to motivate and how to develop this respect that I felt was necessary. Seeing among us this evening are players and coaches of mine who understand that we have unique respect and life of lasting relationships that we develop. Basketball began for me as a player at a little school in West County, Carthage High School. After that, I went to Florida Southern College for a year, then transferred to Ball State. For the college senior, I began my coaching career at Burris High School, teaching for just a brief time. Teaching and coaching began in seriousness after graduating from there at Indiana's Hamlet High School, and from there followed 16 other schools, colleges, and universities where I resumed my coaching career. All of these, the player-coach relationship, again, was very important. To speak of each of these stops along the way is really impossible this evening, but at Otterburn High School, in 1964, we had a 22-2 record and some very good players, and that's where I kind of got my beginning. Batesville High School celebrated 100 years of basketball in January of this year. They honored myself and players of the 71-72 regional championship team. Was another one of my important stops. That team was honored for its 24-2 season record, and my 2-year record there was 40-8. 1973 found me at New Albany High School, winning the state boys basketball championship title. Again, we didn't have a class system then. With a season record of 21-7. In 2020, I returned to New Albany to be honored for my coaching career there and being selected to become a member of their Hall of Fame. In 1974, I was selected as the first high school coach to become the Indiana All-Star head coach, winning both games of the series and defeating the Russian junior national team. Another title, the state runner-up championship title, was achieved in 1999 at Sebring, Florida, where we were 27-7, keeping the record, and again with outstanding players, of course, taking to achieve that. So tonight I wish to thank my wife, Babette, my son, who played for me and coached with me, Jay, for their support throughout my journey. Tonight, family, friends, players, and coaches have honored me with their attendance, and I thank you for sharing this evening with me. This journey has given me great pleasure, unique memories, one memory being, and I wish Natalia Bryant was here tonight to even remember us drinking green bean juice with when we were there. It was kind of there. I think they're regular juice or whatever it was in Gatorade. The most significant are those teaching moments such as that in practices with my players and other coaching relationships throughout the years. And again, those relationships are ones that I cherish and love, and I thank you. Good evening.
If I remember right, in New Albany, I think Kirby started their sectional run, their state title run in '73 by beating my modern Lanesville by about 70. If I remember the story properly from back then. And he just says it's about right. I may have undersold that number just a little bit. Our next two honorees are from the state of Indiana, but have made their name in the National Basketball Association. Our next honoree is Jerry Reynolds. He was a two-time All-Dimension All-State player at Springs Valley, played at Vincennes for 2 years, where his teams went 51-14. As an assistant coach, won national championships at Vincennes University, where he coached NBA players like Bob McAdoo and Ricky Green. He was at West Georgia College, where they won the NAIA national championship in 1974. Spent 10 years as the head coach at Rockhurst and Pittsburgh State, won 192 games over those 10 years. However, he is simply known as Mr. Sacramento King. The franchise relocated from Kansas City to Sacramento from 1985, and Jerry has been with the Sacramento Kings ever since. He has played the role of head coach, assistant coach, scout, director of player personnel, general manager, and television analyst, and he was the first general manager in the history of the WNBA Sacramento Monarchs. These days, he calls Roseville, California home. Ladies and gentlemen, Jerry Reynolds.
Yeah, there's 35 years in Sacramento, a lot of losing in them years. I think that was the story of my success. I was smart enough to move to the next job just in time. Anyway, definitely I am a Hoosier, and went to Spring Valley High School. Obviously, had a great experience there. Terrific coaches, Hall of Famer Gene Flowers, Rex Wells, Jim Jones was an assistant coach there. They really helped me a lot. They gave me a lot of good advice. I chose not to take it. Hell, I don't know what they did, right? When you're 17, 18, I had all the answers. By the time I was 30, I started learning some of the questions. And as the oldest son of Venice Della and Israel Reynolds, the rural outlaw French took Indiana, I kind of fell in love with the game of basketball, and they made whatever sacrifices they could to help me chase my dream. I will tell you, I know my dad, when I was a junior in college, he said, all you do is play ball, think about ball, and read about ball. How are you ever going to make a living? And I thought, well, you're probably right. But it wasn't, I wish he could have lasted a little longer. And I said, hey, tricked you. Tricked you. It all worked it's just such a neat honor to be part of the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame, and really an honor for me just to be considered, especially with the inductees and those of you that are already in. It's tremendous. I just had a great time coaching and Vincent University as well as playing. I coached the freshman team at Oakland City University. I think all of the probably good qualities I had as far as coaching, I developed here as a young person, the hard way maybe. But it all worked out. I want to take special thanks to my wife. She can't be here. She's got some minor health issues, but we've been married 53 years. And I told her before I left, I said, it does appear that when we took the oaths, for better or for worse, till death do you part, looks like that's how it's going to play out. So it's not what you think about it at the time. But it's like I say, the NBA is the NBA, but Indiana is a special place, and it'll always mean so much to me. I think I'm just so thankful to the committee to put me in. I always said, I love basketball, and it loved me back. And you get the chance to have that. And I've got to tell you one little final story. My friends Jeff Doherty and Larry Rusk told me I need to tell this. I said, about 7 years ago, they put my jersey in the Springs Valley Hall of Fame right next to Larry Bird's, and they had a plaque and plaque. So I called Larry. I said, looks like we're pretty much even. We both got a jersey and a plaque. And he said, Jerry, you blankety blank. He said, don't you realize if they want to see your jersey, they got to drive down Larry Bird Boulevard and get there? Sometimes you got to keep it in place. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I just really appreciate everything, and like I say, it's just been such a blessing for me to be able to live a life of basketball and actually get paid for it. That's really neat. Never wouldn't even have to have that, but when you go to a job for 55 years and never consider it work, that's a pretty good step. Thank you.
It's not hard to see why he made the movie television, is it? Figured that out pretty quickly. There's another gentleman like Terry that again has made his living in basketball as a player and a broadcaster for many years. Hot Rod Hunter. And Hot Rod would have this wonderful story about the night that he and Jerry West combined to score 73 points. Hot Rod contributed 2 points of those 73. Described my own athletic career quite well. Our next two honorees, both unfortunately could not be here tonight, but we have recorded video messages for both of them. And much like Mr. Reynolds, Terry Stotts, a young man from the state of Indiana that made his name known in the NBA, great college player, and pro player, and now an NBA head coach for a long time. Terry was 1976 Indiana All-Star. All-state selection, averaged 24 and 13 as a senior, led the Cougars to their first sectional championship in school history, and was the first player from Booth North to be named an Indiana All-Star. Played 4 years at the University of Oklahoma, and over 1,100 points and 400 rebounds. His first team All-Big 8 his senior year. Second-round pick in the 1980 NBA draft, played professionally in Italy, Spain, and France. He has now been in the professional coaching ranks for 31 years. Spent 19 years as an NBA assistant, 13 years as an NBA head coach. Atlanta Hawks, Milwaukee Bucks. Last 9 years with the Portland Trail Blazers led them to 8 consecutive NBA playoff appearances. He is the second winningest coach in the history of the Portland Trail Blazers. Again, unfortunately, Terry could not be here in person tonight, but has recorded this video message to share with everyone in attendance, so please direct your attention to the video screen.
Hi, I would like to thank the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame for this incredible honor. I consider this induction as a Basketball Lifetime Achievement Award. At 62 years old, basketball has been part of my entire life. My late father, Frank, was a high school basketball coach in Iowa, Illinois, and Wisconsin before we moved to Guam in 1969. I am forever grateful that he and my mom, Jane Phelps, had the foresight to send me to Indiana, where I was able to play at Bloomington High School North for my junior and senior years. This was made possible by Don and Regina Moore. Don was my 8th and 9th grade coach on Guam. Don and Regina offered to be my guardians, and that changed my life forever. They took in a 16-year-old kid and made it possible for him to play basketball in the great basketball state of Indiana. At Bloomington North, I was fortunate to play for George Fielding. Thank you, Coach. And I had great teammates and friends like Ken Beatty, Kelly Abel, Dave Sauter, Gloria Gifford, and many others. I was extremely proud to have been selected to the 1976 Indiana All-Star team. From Bloomington, I went on to play at the University of Oklahoma, the other Big Red. I'm proud of the success we had there. My head coach was former IU assistant Dave Bliss. In 1979, we won Oklahoma's first Big 8 championship in 31 years. We lost in the Sweet 16 to Larry Bird's Indiana State team. Larry only had 28 points and 15 rebounds. After my senior year at Oklahoma, I was accepted to Oklahoma School of Dentistry, and I had every intention of becoming a dentist. However, I was the 38th pick of the 1980 NBA draft, so I decided to keep playing ball for a while. My 9-year professional playing career took me to Europe for 6 seasons. I loved playing in Italy, Spain, and France. So many teammates, coaches, friends, and great European experiences. But it was in Great Falls, Montana that really changed the course of my life. I met my future wife in Great Falls, and I played for George Karl and the Montana Golden Nuggets in the CBA. In 1980, George was a young first-year coach. I played 3 seasons for the Golden Nuggets, and George and I became very good friends. 10 years later, he hired me as an assistant coach for the Albany, New York Patroons in the CBA. I will always appreciate the opportunity George gave me. My coaching career has spanned 30 years. In the CBA, it took me from Albany to Fort Wayne. Thank you to owner Jay Fry and Coach Gerald Oliver. In the NBA, it took me to Seattle and a trip to the 1996 NBA Finals, Milwaukee twice. Thank you, Senator Herb Cole, Atlanta, Golden State, and the Dallas Mavericks. Thank you, Rick Carlisle, for showing me a different coaching style and all the players from the 2011 NBA championship team. It was quite a ride. And presently, the Portland Trail Blazers, where I've been head coach for the last 8 seasons. Owner Paul Allen and President Neil O'Shea gave me the opportunity to be a head coach for a 3rd time, and it has been a charm. To the hundreds of players, coaches, trainers, managers, executives who I have had the privilege to work with, I hope they all know how much I appreciated them. And finally, and most importantly, I want to thank my lovely wife, Jan, for being my partner and being by my side on this journey. Being the wife of a basketball coach is difficult, but she has always supported me and loved me through the highs and the lows. I love you, Jan, and thank you for being with me. You made all of this possible. Once again, thank you to the Hall for this honor. It's very special. And go Cougars.
Can you imagine what that recruiting bid was to coach Bloomington High School North? We got this kid from Guam. He's pretty good. I might want to give him a try. And clearly, Terry has some similar Larry Bird stories that you do. Our next honoree is Joe Suter. Joe was a 3-year starter at Marion. The Giants were 70-13 during those years. 3 regional championships, made 2 appearances in state championship games. His undefeated number 2 ranked Giants lost to Indianapolis, Washington 61-60 in another legendary state tournament game. That was in England Fieldhouse. Joe was the Tressor Award winner that year from Atlanta, too. Played on the 1969 Indiana All-Star team that also swept Kentucky. Joe played at Davidson College. He was first team All-Southern Conference in 1971 AP Honorable Mention All-American. He played professionally for 3 seasons in Belgium, Switzerland, and Italy, where he averaged 20 and 10. He earned a master's degree of physical therapy. He founded and was president of Tuckahoe Physical Therapy, which grew to be the largest private provider of outpatient physical therapy services in Central Virginia for over 2 decades. Again, Joe could not be here tonight. He's kind enough to film this acceptance speech.
Good evening. I'm disappointed that I'm not with you in person tonight. but I'm following the directions of my position. However, this doesn't diminish the thrill and the honor of being inducted into the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame. I'd like to extend the deepest gratitude to those who selected me for this noble award. I'd also like to thank all the employees of the Hall for their hard work over the last 18 months in the most difficult of times. Additionally, I'd like to congratulate my fellow inductees. It is truly a privilege to go in with such a fine and accomplished group. There are a lot of people to thank for making this night possible for me. I'd like to start with my family, and I thank them for all their love, their support, and their encouragement. I'd like to thank all my teammates and my friends and acknowledge that without their help and their presence, I would not be here. I'd also like to express my appreciation to Jim Shea, Amy Stewart, and Billy Shepard for their assistance. Now, all players benefit from great coaches, and I've been extremely fortunate in that arena. Time doesn't permit me to talk about each one, so I'd like to single out two. One is John May, who is being inducted tonight also. He was my 8th grade coach, and I'd like his family and his friends to know what a great impact he had on a bunch of young teenage boys. The other is Jack Colstott, who was my varsity coach for 3 years. He's a member of this hall, and anyone who knows him is aware of his deepest integrity and the fact that he always placed his players' interests above his own. Thanks for everything, Coach. Lastly, I'd like to express my appreciation for being able to participate in this great Hoosier heritage, the land of basketball. It was the most fun I ever had on the basketball court, and I learned things that have stayed with me throughout my life. I would like to extend this appreciation, especially to the good folks of Marion and Grant County. Their support and the unity surrounding our basketball seasons is hard to describe if you didn't know it. I hope that the future generations have the same opportunities that I did. So again, my thanks to all. Travel safely and be well.
I want to take this moment to thank the folks at Evans Audio Visual for making that possible and for the job they have done in terms of putting these screens on such a big hall so everybody has a chance to kind of hear and see the entirety of the program. Thanks to my colleagues at the ISC Sports Network, and thanks to Chris Mann and folks at the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame for having us here to be able to stream this tonight for people that could not be here and be a part of this ceremony. Coach, when your last name ends in Y, you're used to being called last. We're going to make you wait no longer because you are now a member of the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame. Our final honoree is Steve Yoder. He was 1958 graduate of Plymouth High School. He was the head coach of Plymouth from 67 to 73. His teams won 3 conference titles, 3 sectionals, 2 regional championships, and twice finished the state ranked in the top 10. Including 1 season at Penn, his overall record as a high school coach was 115-49. Spent time as assistant coach at Furman and Ball State, then the head coach at Ball State University, including winning the 1981 MAC Tournament Championship and making an appearance in the 1981 NCAA Tournament. From 82 to 92, Steve was the head coach at the University of Wisconsin. He led the Badgers to their first postseason appearance in over 40 years when Wisconsin made the NIT in 1989. In 89, he was the district coach of the year and Basketball Times Midwest Coach of the Year. He spent time as a scout in the NBA from 2000 to 2011 and was director of operations for the University of Houston's men's basketball team for 3 seasons from 2014 through 2017. These days, Steve calls Sarasota, Florida home. Once again, a Hall of Famer, Steve Yoder.
I am the last
been waiting on. I think I have too. You know, there's something that I learned back in junior high. Junior high teacher once asked us, does anybody know what the word initiative means? And of course, he was an assistant football coach. We were all kind of afraid of him, so nobody raised their hands. They didn't want to be wrong. And he said, well, he said, I just want you to know, initiative is nothing more than being in the right place at the right time without being told. And I think that's what's happened to me a lot. But when you're in that situation, you need to recognize it somehow, even though you weren't told to, and then do something about it. And tonight I'm going to be brief now because I am the last guy, and they said 9 o'clock of me, and I don't have any time. It's 20 after 9. And without friends and family, then none of us have a whole lot. And over my years, because I've moved a lot of places, I've gone. When a calling came, I went. So, and I had no fear of that. So family and friends became extremely important. And to have their support, and I have several people that I'm very close to, obviously, but I have many, many friends. And all my family members, I had 3 brothers and 2 sisters. Dad told me one time when I was working for Northern Indiana Public Service Company, and I was smart enough because I was raised on a farm that I knew how to use these hydraulics, and they put me on one of those 8-foot ditch diggers when I was in college, my freshman year, and I was making real good money. This is back in 1959. And I told Dad one day, he said, oh, Dad, I don't think I want to go back to college. But you're not making all this money. He said, well, that's fine. You want to go back? You don't have to go back, but I'm going to tell you one thing. You don't go back, you get out of here. I got 3 of your brothers and 2 of your sisters to feed. You go find an apartment. You pay for your car. You pay for your insurance. You buy your own groceries. I went back to school. So anyway, that's another being in the right place at the right time deal. You know, none of us as coaches ever reach any kind of success without players. And the only thing that I ever wanted to teach my players was that you can never win if you don't know how to compete. And there's a price you pay for competing. And I'm 82 years old, but I still think I could coach today. I need somebody to hold me up all the time. But the mind's still there, and it's still all about competing. You know, you can't win without knowing how to compete, and I don't care where it is or what business you're in. So that was the most important thing with my players. And it was tough on the players. They played for me, I can tell you that. But competition meant everything. You had to learn a lot of skills, but you also had to put something into it. It wasn't about skills. You could put players in positions where they could succeed, but it was about having the heart to compete. So I was lucky. I had some good players. Unbelievable guys. 2 Indiana All-Stars, a lot of All-State players, great players at Ball State. Unbelievable guys. When I left Ball State, there was only one player on that team from any other state but Indiana. When I came there, we had players from Ohio, from Michigan, from Illinois. I never understood that. This is Indiana. I mean, you get Indiana players, you're going to win. You're going to get support of your coaches and your fans. But anyway, that's another story. But that was my
thought of the whole process. And it wasn't brain surgery. You didn't have to be able to understand any more than that. Indiana guys knew how to play ball. Just get them to learn how to compete. That's the whole thing, compete. And the last thing I want to say, I do consider this kind of a lifetime achievement award. And I'm sure my other members coming in tonight do too. Like I say, been in the right place at the right time. The most important thing that happened to me that really was being born in Plymouth, Indiana. Because we had everything in Plymouth at the time. I had 8,000, it's 10,000 now. Elementary school, secondary education, that's where I got it. I had great teachers, I had great coaches. I had wonderful teammates, classmates. So that town did a lot to help me. And I think only you remember the 1982 team there. Scott Skiles was in the 5th grade when I left Plymouth. I was the head coach there. His head coach was my freshman coach. But that town gave me my start. Being in the right place at the right time. And thanks to the committee for making me one of the members of the Hall of Fame. It's been a great evening. I love the guys that I'm coming in with, and I hope to see them all again soon. Now I'm going to go back to Florida tomorrow and play some more golf.
Now, while I have referenced all of the last honorees that we have noted as Hall of Famers, there is an official induction procedure. And that's his outgoing status as the Hall of Fame president when this banquet was supposed to take place 19 months ago. Jerry Pearson is here to give that as we conclude our festivities for the evening.
And we will do that very quickly. Will all of the current Hall of Fame inductees on this top row please stand, and all of our former inductees please stand. Congratulations to each of you for reaching this meritorious level of your life and your contributions to Indiana basketball. On behalf of the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame Board of Directors, I officially induct and welcome you into the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame. Congratulations. Thank you all for attending tonight. Be safe on your way home. Good evening.